the Mentor Awards presentation that will happen now. So just Mr. Charles Obiara will be doing that. So the ACE Award is a prestigious Africa Creativity Coaching Excellence Award offered to coaches and mentors with track record of excellent services to people and communities, thus celebrating and encouraging mentoring and human resource development creativity on the African continent. The award is meant to inspire excellence, hope, and cheer determination of selflessness in various industries. C4D Africa, by offering the award, recognizes the work of mentors and coaches as a key sustainability element in business and society in general. Previous recipients of this award have included the likes of Raymond Ackerman. So Charles, over to you, sir.
First of all, I would like to appreciate all the partners who made today what it is. Starting from the Rising Star Group, the TIA, ArcelorMittal, Sasol, Standard Bank, SABPP, and the numerous others. We appreciate you. Thank you. C4D Africa, like the MC has already introduced, is a coaching and mentoring organization focusing in ensuring that coaching and mentoring excels, becomes a development tool in Africa. And to do that, we identify numerous niches, and one of it is the Africa Creativity Coaching Excellence Award, which we will be doing the second part of it for 2014 here today. And it will be very powerful indeed that all the rising stars today will need to realize it's not enough to be a rising star. You need to work harder to be an ace in your industry, to be a giver of your talent, of your skills, to partake in making the upcoming generation able enough to have the skills that you have and better off. My colleague here, Pule Setai, is the Executive Program Coordinator for C4D Africa, and we are here today to make sure that this award is presented. Without taking much of your time, we have 4 recipients here today, and we are still waiting for one, the President of Pan-African Parliament, who is right on the way. But for us to maintain time, we need to acknowledge and present the award to the 3 others that are here present in a moment, and after the panel discussion, we will complete the award. And the 3 categories we'll be presenting now. We will start with the Master Mentor on Spiritual Motivation. This particular award, we had 19 contestants from across Africa. And having looked at the services they are providing to the people of the continent, it became so inevitable that Reverend Dr. David Molapo is the #1 master mentor on spiritual motivation in Africa in 2014. And we would like to welcome Dr. Some of us here may know him. He's an outstanding personnel who C4D identified 2 years ago and actually became the master mentor. To be a master mentor, to be a mentor is one thing. To be a master mentor is another, where you have to mentor people that mentors. That is what it's all about. And we are inviting everyone here, especially the rising stars and all the corporate leaders, to watch this space, be a master mentor, and see Africa economy grow. Dr. Molapo, thank you so much. And C4D Africa is presenting you with this honorable certification to tell you what you're doing in the past 10 years. We know, the continent knows, South Africa knows. Keep on doing it and make sure that the gift of God will not stop this generation, rather transfer the spirit and all that God has embedded in you to the generations to come. Thank you very much.
I'd like my director, Dr. Richard Chuku, to please come and pick this. He's one of the mentors in Africa. It is true that life is like a book of many chapters. Some chapters are easy in Africa, but some chapters are difficult. Some chapters are rough, siyazi, ratseba. Some chapters are smooth. But whatever chapter we're going through, I believe that it is time for Africa to arise. So I accept this nomination or this award, first of all giving the Lord who gave me an opportunity at the age of 13 in prison, smuggling guns, and today reaching millions of people together with a team. I commit to this organization that will ensure that the Rising Star and all the sponsors are recognized. And once again, I want to encourage the Rising Star, if I can do it, you can do it. God bless.
Thank you so much, the master mentor from today. That is your identity going forward. Thank you. And the second recipient will be Lady Queen Mayekwani. Queen Mayekwani is come all the way from Limpopo. She's a nurse by profession, but to win this award, we located her to the village where she is empowering women, where she's teaching people how to farm, how to make use of the farm, make use of the land. And she has empowered a lot of people. Going out of her normal career or vocation to do that, it became very exceptional in the community coaching and mentoring space. So we invite you, Madam Queen, to come and receive your award. And the third person, the final for now, will be Mr. Billy Selekani. We got information the family is here. Can they just come up to the stage? Billy Selekani, some of us may know him. It's a Gauteng-based motivational speaker. He has empowered, inspired, and made a lot of young people become very successful. Having worked with him throughout this nomination, we said, Billy, keep doing what you're doing to young people. Let's make South Africa greater. And this is Mrs. Selekani.
We as a family are highly honored to have received this award on behalf of my father. Thank you.
And right now, thank you very much. We'll go on with the panel discussion and complete the process in due course. Thank you. Thank you once again. We have in our midst the Venerable President of Pan-African Parliament in our midst right away, Honorable Bethel Amadi. Can we please give me a hand of applause? And the President is awarded the Master Mentor on Legislation, the first of its kind in Africa. This award was to appreciate the work Pan-African Parliament under his leadership is doing and has achieved a lot in making legislation that is bringing about social integration, cross-border activities, and business, inter-Africa business development. It has never been the same before in this continent. Thank you, Honorable President. C4D Africa and Rising Star is awarding you today the Master Mentor on Legislation, #1 ever anywhere in the world. Thank you for all the work you've been doing and continue to look after African children wherever you are and in all your ambitions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I believe that let me hide under the existing protocols as already established. My name is Bethel Nemeka Amadi. I am President of the Pan-African Parliament, and I'm honored today to be part of this very elegant and important occasion. On behalf of the Pan-African Parliament members and Bureau, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the organizers of this event for inviting us and for appreciating our little efforts in our little corner of Midrand, where the Parliament is based. This is an honor not just for me as President of the Pan-African Parliament, but for all the people of Africa who don't have a voice in the decision-making process on our continent. We see our parliament, the Pan-African Parliament, as a voice for the voiceless millions of African people. The visionary fathers of our continent established the Pan-African Parliament to be a platform for African people and their grassroots organizations to make an input in decision-making process, in finding solutions to the problems facing our continent. Established in the year 2004, it started as a consultative and advisory body of the African Union. And after 5 years of its existence in 2009, we began the process to review the protocol establishing the Pan-African Parliament to endow it with additional powers and functions in clearly defined areas. This process underwent several validation workshops, very rigorous work done by ambassadors, various member states of the African Union, done by the ministers of justice and attorneys general of member states, until it was passed by the Executive Council. And finally, in June 2014, in Malabo, in Equatorial Guinea Summit of the heads of states and governments of the African Union, the new protocol was adopted, designating the Pan-African Parliament as the legislative organ of the African Union. This would provide the Pan-African Parliament the political and legal function of making draft model laws for the African continent. We use the word draft model laws because the African Union is made up of independent member states, and as such, we would be providing for them draft models of legislations on which they can now base their own national legislations. It will still require that the national parliament ratify and domesticate the model laws that we will produce. For us, it's a small step forward towards a full parliament for Africa. But for the African people that we represent, we believe it's a major leap forward, that the process of integration of our continent would now have a legal and legislative framework on which we can build this integration, a dream of the founders and forefathers of our continental union. Africa, due to lack of integration, continues to lag behind in almost every sector of human development. And for us at the Pan-African Parliament, we're convinced that the time has come for us to make legislations that would enable us to have free movement of people, goods and services across our continent. An African citizen should be free, without visa restrictions, to move from one part of Africa to another, to move goods from one part of Africa to another, to move services from one part of Africa to another. Because today, Africa has the lowest level of intra-continental trade. Today, intra-Africa trade stands at about 13% from the latest statistics we've received. And when you compare it to other continents like Asia that have achieved almost 40%, or even the European Union that has achieved over 60%, you will realize that the low level of intra-Africa trade is a missed development opportunity for our continent. The biggest trading partner of every African country is either in Europe, Asia, or America. To travel from one part of Africa to another is almost like a journey in the ancient times. You find out that it's easier to connect most African countries and capitals from Europe than to connect from one African capital to another. Why can we not have in our continent a rail line, something as basic as railways that were invented hundreds of years ago? Why can't we not have a rail line that goes from Cape Town to Cairo, or from Lagos to Nairobi? Africa is the most fragmented of all the continents on earth. with numerous border crossings for 54 countries. And that's why there's need for us to bring down those artificial borders and ensure that African people are able to relate to each other. You cannot have integration until you begin economic integration. That will be the first step forward. That will help us retain within this continent a lot of resources that are presently being taken out of our continent. And when you retain resources within the continent, create opportunities for African citizens, we reduce the high level of unemployment that currently exists on our continent. Ours is the youngest in terms of population indices, the youngest continent on earth today, and getting younger by the minute. When I say youngest, I mean the highest number of young people as a percentage of our population. Today, over 65% of Africa's population are under the age of 35. And by the year 2025, the demographic indices show that Africa will be home to 25% of the world's global population of young people under the age of 25. And this is why I'm happy to be in the midst of so many rising stars on our continent. The young people who are doing wonderful things in different corners of our continent, creating opportunities, and defining that there's no glass ceiling for the African citizen if only we decide to do the right things. Our level of unemployment for young people is so high that it's almost frightening. And yet, our population is getting younger. So we must prepare for this army of young people that we're producing on the African continent. We must provide jobs for them, education for them, health care for them, opportunities. We must begin to find how do we stop the trend where the young African wants to live in Europe and America. They will risk life and limb to cross the Sahara Desert. They die on the Mediterranean Sea in their hundreds just to get across to Europe. And finally, when they get to Europe, they are illegal immigrants, worse than second-class citizens. Many end up in the hands of drug cartels, prostitution rackets, the rest in prison. And this is because we have failed within this continent to provide the level of governance that's needed to create opportunities for our young people. And I want to urge all of you here today who believe that your voice cannot be heard, who believe that you cannot make a meaningful contribution from where you stand. I want to challenge you that you can play a major role in changing the history and the fortunes of our continent. That the time to do it is now. And that we must all work together to begin to build institutions that will ensure that the future of the generations yet unborn is better than we have had today. So I thank you for this honor. I thank you for this opportunity. And on behalf of my colleagues, members of the Pan-African Parliament, I want to reassure you that on this continent, despite our problems, despite our difficulties, that we are working because we believe that there's a great future for this continent. That we believe that this continent, rich in natural resources, endowed with immense human resources, can rise above our current situation of poverty, illiteracy, hunger, disease, and make progress that we cannot be proud of. Come join us as we look at what Africa will be over the next 50 years under the African Union Agenda 2063. Africa is rising, and I thank you.
And we thank you, the Honorable President, Pan-African Parliament, for the wonderful insight into the work and the present situation of the continent. We rightly place the award on your able hand. Right now, we want to invite to hand over the last award, which is going to Association of South African Black Actuaries for their Wondership Mentorship Program. And right now, they've designated that the event organizer, Laura Swart, will receive it on their behalf. Thank you.